How is everybody doing? In this video, it's A Night at the Opera versus A Day at the Races. Two classic Queen albums, equally brilliant in their own right. But in my mind, I think that A Night at the Opera is Queen's artistic masterpiece. It was their fourth album. Day at the Races came soon after, and it is their fifth album. I think these albums are part of a trilogy which started with Sheer Heart Attack in 1974, and Night at the Opera was released in 1975. Day at the Races was then released in 1976. They're a trilogy in a way because Queen 1 is pretty raw and a snapshot of the band between 1970 and 73. Queen 2 is a concept album. It's just much more ambitious, much denser. It stands alone in the Queen catalogue as being pretty unique as well, but it isn't as diverse as A Night at the Opera. So let's check it out right now. A Night at the Opera was released in 1975. Produced by Roy Thomas Baker. It was an ambitious album. Every track on it was recorded with meticulous detail, and it also has the incredible Bohemian Rhapsody on it, so I guess that definitely gives it the edge over Races. First three tracks: Dead on Two Legs, Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon, I'm in Love with My Car. Three of these tracks are fantastic. Dead on Two Legs rolls in with a piano. You're really at a show. Yeah, it reminds you of the good old days or something. It's fantastic. It's mystical, almost Victorian. Then it's got the hit single, You're My Best Friend. And there's an acoustic song, 39. Sweet Lady. Out of all these tracks, I would say it's the first weak track. Reminds you of the Stones a little bit. Great riff on it though, you know, lyrics don't mean that much. Then side one ends with Seaside Rendezvous. That's quite funny, slapstick, but it's brilliant, you know. In just there's a moat vocal orchestration of brass by Roger Taylor, so it sounds like a Dixieland band or something like that. Side 2 kicks off with The Prophet Song. It's a Brian May track. Fantastic, great music, great vocal. It's quite ambitious, and even though it's still, you could never say that if it was released instead of Bohemian Rhapsody it would have been big. I don't think it would have had the same impact. It's just a little bit maybe too long or something, or it just has quiet parts with the vocal that probably would definitely not suit the radio. Whereas Bohemian Rhapsody encapsulates the whole thing perfectly, and even at the time the record company weren't going to release it, except Kenny Everett, DJ at the time, kept playing it, and it became number one for a long time. That goes into Love of My Life, which is a beautiful Mercury ballad, and then you have got Good Company, another great track, and then Bohemian Rhapsody itself, and the album ends with God Save the Queen, Brian May's rendition of the national anthem. But, you know, it's, like I said, it's a flawless album. It works on every level. Just the inner sleeve. Photos here. Yeah, it just is, you know, it shows Queen at the height of their creative peak, creative powers. You know, incredible in the studio, but you know, yeah, it's just a masterpiece, and you know, like I said, it shows incredible attention to detail and the sounds they get without using any synthesizers. Okay, so now let's take a look at A Day at the Races. So, what has this one got? Well, kicks off with a kind of a infinite guitar loop Sounds like it's kind of going around in circles, and it seems to never start, never end. It's quite cool. It's kind of a tag on the album that you kind of never forget. Then you've got Brian May's Tie Your Mother Down. This is a pretty bombastic boogie. Yeah, it's a hard rocker, I guess. It's not my favourite Queen rocker by any means. I think Now I'm Here is superior to this. But it's, like I said, it's a good opener to the album. Next up we have You Take My Breath Away. This is from Mercury. This is a beautiful track. Love song. And it's probably one of the most beautiful love songs you'll ever hear. Just piano and Brian May's orchestrated guitars. Lots of vocal overdubs as well. Really, really nice song. Special song. It's like a twin brother to Love of My Life. I actually prefer this one. I think it's nicer. Then we have Long Away. It's a Brian May track. Opens with kind of a 12-string electric guitar. That's what it sounds like. Reminds me of Eagles, kind of West Coast rock. Not a bad song really, yeah, not bad. And nothing here is startling or exciting as the opening of opera. Really, this is a more sober album. Then we have the Millionaire Waltz. This is insane. Really good. I love this one. Mercury wrote this. It's like Gilbert and Sullivan, and there's guitar orchestration on it. It's got a lot of dynamics. Check out the bass solo underpinning the piano at the start of the song by Deacon. Absolutely incredible. It's a complex song. It's very enjoyable. This again now to me is kind of going back into opera territory. If that was an opera instead of Sweet Lady, well then that album would have went up another notch. And then side one ends with You and I. You and I is a Deacon track. It's the only one he contributed here, and I like it. I've always liked it. Mercury kind of snarls the vocal on it quite aggressively. I like the drums on it. Nice rolling piano. Something that we would have seen again in Don't Stop Me Now. Yeah, I really like it. It's a great song, and it's quite short, and that's the end of side one. Then side two has Somebody to Love. That was a huge Queen song. Still is probably one of their best songs. Mercury wrote this. It's kind of a gospel song, but I'd say he was going for an Aretha Franklin feel, but it completely, it's like nothing Aretha Franklin ever did. It's insane. It's got this 12/8 rhythm, I think. It's just got incredible musicianship on it, and it's got amazing vocals. It comes to a climax. Gospel choir, Roger, Brian and Freddie. Then we have White Man. Now this is a heavy song, a Brian May song again. For me, it's the weak song on this album. I always kind of feel I have to kind of, endure it. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. I'm not sure, the theme and stuff, about the American Indians and stuff, I can understand all that. And it's a kind of, a nod to them and a sympathy for them and stuff. But there's something not quite right about it. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels a bit out of place. It's... I wonder what the album would really be like without it. I don't know. It's just, it's the only one that I have my doubts about. The music, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, then we have Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy, another Mercury track. Incredible. Just very, very cool. Very, very, very cool. And then Drowse, which is a Roger Taylor track. Nice rolling rhythm on that. Love Drowse. Absolutely fantastic. And Taylor actually sings that himself. And then we have Tio Toriate, Let Us Cling Together. And this one has Japanese in the chorus. It's a Brian May ballad, and it's absolutely lovely, and it's almost like a hymn, So it's a great track. I really like it. Races, it's kind of special in its own right. It's not like Night at the Opera. It's actually very different. It's kind of more concise. Is it Is it better than opera? Artistically, no, because it doesn't have the bombast of Bohemian Rhapsody and also the Prophet song. I think they are weight differently, but in its own right, it's a nice follow-up. Critics kind of slated at the time. They said, "Oh, you know, Queen are doing this and Queen are doing that." They've kind of copied. It's just a nice team. Loads of bands have done this, you know. Queen weren't the first, certainly. You know. Another thing about Races is actually wasn't produced by Roy Thomas Baker. Queen decided to do it themselves. I think somehow it lacks some of the warmth of opera for some reason. I'm not sure. But yeah, so, you know, often I think, yeah, these are two very important Queen albums because this was album number 4. It was definitely the make or break. You know, I think they showed us with 1974's Sheer Heart Attack that they were diverse and they could be fun. But I think opera was important because they had to make an album that, you know, was 100% artistically true to the band and what we were capable of, and they did it with that. I don't think they had to do the same with Races. They were quite popular by now. So Races is, you know, rudimentary. You know, let's get on with it, and I think that's it really. It's definitely not as artistically brilliant as A Night at the Opera, but it's a great companion. So I think that when you listen to one, you always kind of want to listen to the other. Or sometimes if I want to play opera, I'm ready to pull it out, and then I go, I'll go for Races. Races is, I can't explain it. And Night at the Opera is like Sunday. It reminds me of Sunday. You know, a day off, it's brilliant. You know, a sunny Sunday or something, like, you know, you're kind of happy and, you know, you're lazy and you don't do much. That's what that reminds me of. But Races reminds me of a Saturday where you kind of do a few things and you go shopping and it's a little bit more casual. I can't explain it, but yeah, write in your thoughts in the comments. They're two brilliant albums, and like I said, I think that, you know, they're the kind of end of the classic Queen era. News of the World from '77 was a bit more stripped down. They were going for something else, and I think it lacks the magic of the early years, without a doubt. I think that, you know, the trilogy of Sheer Heart Attack, Opera and Races work really well. You know, I don't think the band ever said they were a trilogy, but that's the kind of style they were going for, you know, kitchen sink production. Everything was in there, and it showed people that this was the kind of band Queen were. A lot of attention to detail, even more so than the Beatles. You know what I mean? I know there was more tracks at the time and stuff like that, but everything is crammed into these albums. You know, they're the band as artists working to the peak of their profession. So anyway, let me see what you think. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and take care. And don't forget to tell me your favourite out of the two. You know, as two standalone albums, which one you prefer the most and what memories they bring back and stuff. And, you know, when I bought these on cassette back in the 80s when I was 16, this was the one I got first, and I loved Opera. It was stunning to listen to. But then I got Races, and they've always had the same effect on me, you know what I mean? They're just magic. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe. Take care.